Take care.
You too. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the IT Academy's online learning webinar for the Georgia Department of Ed. I'm one of your presenters, Jennifer Metcalf, and I have another Georgia teacher here with me, Melissa, that joins me with these webinars. And Melissa and I are going to try to help each one of you become familiar with the online learning benefit and how to use it successfully in your classroom. I wanted to tell you, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to type your, I wonder if they can type their questions in. You can unmute your mic. We'll stop periodically, and you can unmute your mic and ask us questions, and we'll also stop at the end for any questions that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Most of you know that Melissa and I piloted the IT Academy program in 2012 at Fayette County High School, and we had a lot of success with it. And we actually did use online learning in our classroom. So today we're going to take you through and try to help you understand online learning, where the resources are located, and how to use it in your classroom. I think the thing that stands out to me about online learning is that it has something for every student. So on this slide, you can see all those IT Academy resources or benefits that we've been covering in this series of IT Academy for the Georgia DOE. And the one that we're going to concentrate on today, like I said, is online learning. Now, each of these are great tools for preparing your students with the skills they need for certifications. But online learning is just like it sounds. It's online classes that you provide your students access to so they can learn skills for certification. When Melissa and I first began using the IT Academy, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out which resources to use in our classroom from the ones that you can see on the slide. We decided to use MOAC as our main resource and use online learning as a supplemental resource. However, if you are a virtual school, or maybe you have a lot of students that are learning online, you might want to use this as the main resource in your classroom. It's just going to depend on your teaching style and your students' learning style, and also your teaching environment. So just really quickly, if I can do this, I want to conduct a poll with those of you who are here.
Actually, Jennifer?
Yes?
Jennifer, just want to mention real quick, I'm looking at the group of teachers that are in the room at the moment,
yes,
and want to make sure that all of them are paying attention and listening to this webinar, and they're not multitasking and doing something else, because right now it's showing several of you are not paying attention and want to make sure that you're in the room and doing the work. So if you have your email that you're looking at instead of the webinar and you're just listening to this process, that's not counting you as being present, and you may not get credit for attending the webinar for today. So for the 2 or 3 of you that still haven't come back, it may show that you will not get credit for today. So really want to make sure that you are, actually now it's grown to 4 people not paying attention. So please make sure that you stop multitasking, doing web search or email or building your lesson plan for tomorrow, and that you focus in on listening to and be participating with GoToWebinar and having the GoToWebinar viewer up and present. Okay? Thank you much. Sorry, Jennifer, just wanted to say that.
No problem. Thanks, John. Okay, so I'm going to conduct a poll just really quickly. I want to see which of you are using online learning in your classroom, just to kind of see where we are and where we stand as far as, you know, where we should start with you. So I see it's about a little bit more, about half and half. Well, yeah, about half and half. Okay, so half of you are using it and half of you are not. So I'm definitely going to make it I'm going to start more general, but we'll help you with all the questions that you have as far as what you need for today's webinar. So it looks about maybe a little bit more of you are using it. So that's great, and we're so glad that you are here today with us to learn more about it. So anytime you have questions, I think you can type them into the question box, and Melissa can check those for me, when I'm talking, and then when Melissa's presenting to you, I can check them. And also, we're going to give you time to unmute your mic and ask questions for those of you who are using it and who are not. Now, there was no right or wrong answer to this poll. I just wanted to kind of gauge where Melissa and I need to start. Okay, so great. All right, so the online learning platform, for those of you who have not used it before, is provided to you through your IT Academy membership. Online learning allows teachers to create learning plans or courses for their students based on a particular topic. So there's over 250 courses in online learning and multiple technologies. So there's a lot more than just the Microsoft Office specialist skills that most of us teach. So on that note, online learning is also a great tool for you to use in your own professional development. So there's a number of benefits to online learning, and I've listed some of them here. One benefit of online learning is that it's cost efficient. If you're here today, it's because you have an IT Academy membership, and online learning is free in the IT Academy, so all you have to do is set it up and begin implementing it with your students. Another benefit is that it's got global access, so students have access to online learning anywhere they have access to the internet. So they can use online learning at school, at home, at the library. And to me, this is one of the best features of online learning because students who get behind can work on it at home. And students who are on homebound or sick and not coming to school, they can access it, the same content that your students in class will have access to from home. And also, for students who excel, they can take extra courses over different technologies and get extra certifications with online learning. So I think that's a huge benefit. Another benefit is learning plans. So learning plans are a set of courses you want your students to complete. In online learning, you can assign learning plans directly to your students. It's going to go into their account, so then they can sign in and start using their online learning courses. And Melissa's going to show you how to do that today. Online learning allows for reporting. If you want to keep track of your students, you can pull reports that look like Excel spreadsheets, and you can see the amount of time they spent on the course and the courses they've completed. And lastly, online learning in IT Academy has awesome support for us teachers. So there's numbers, emails, videos, and the famous Microsoft IT Academy OneDrive. Many of you have used these before. But there are some that are specific to online learning. We're going to show you those today. So there's great avenues of support if you find that you need it, which we did when we used online learning, and we got the support that we needed. We had a lot of success, and we were pretty impressed with the support that the IT Academy gave us with online learning. All right, now speaking of support, one of the main avenues of support that we use in our classroom is the Microsoft IT Academy OneDrive. Now, the OneDrive, some of you have probably seen it before, but it's a great tool that the IT Academy provides to teachers for support. So anything and everything you might need is located on this OneDrive, and each state has its own folder. So at this time, I want to just kind of show you the OneDrive. Let me see if I can minimize this. There we go. I'm just going to go out to the OneDrive. This is what the OneDrive looks like. And I want to show you a couple of things on the OneDrive that I think you might need. So if you've never used a OneDrive before, it's the Microsoft tool for online storage, and the blue areas are like file folders. And there is a wealth of information in here that you have unlimited access to. So you can print, you can save, you can download any of these files to your own computer for your reference. So first, let me show you where the state-specific program folders are and where Georgia's folders are. I always click in Getting Started with the IT Academy. And right here, if you click on state-specific program, when you go in there, you will see Georgia Schools. So I clicked on Georgia Schools, and there's information for IT leaders. Here's the webinars that we've been doing for the DOE, and here, the Microsoft IT Academy webinars. That's where you can find recordings of all of that. But you can find some really good stuff in the Georgia state-specific program folder. Next, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back out to the Getting Started with ITA. That's pretty much where I spent most of my time. And I'm going to show you the Quick Start Guide. So today, let's say that we run out of time and we can't answer everyone's questions. I found a lot of my answers in these Quick Start guides. So I'm going to click on the Quick Start guide. And if you'll notice, there's Quick Start guides for all the different benefits of the IT Academy. And when I say benefits, I mean the different parts of the IT Academy, like MOAC or online learning or eReference. But see, right here is a Quick Start guide to online learning. So if, let's say that you're brand new to online learning and you just want to quickly go in and set up online learning, this is going to help you do that. Quick Start guides are there's one in there for each one of the benefits of the IT Academy and much more, but they're really useful and simple for you to use. So that's where that is. And I'm going to come back out. Another thing I wanted to show you was the IT Director checklist. And I'm going to click right here on IT Readiness. Now when you go, this is extremely important, okay? Now, the IT Director checklist is located in this IT Readiness folder. The IT Director checklist was created to make sure your computers are ready to use the IT Academy and also online learning. So most of us have IT coordinators. So if you want to print this checklist out and give it to them or email them, if I were you, we gave our IT coordinator access to the OneDrive. Now, we had an awesome IT coordinator who is very involved. So you just want to make sure, however you do it, print it, give it to them, email them. You want to give them this checklist if you have not already. So I'm going to show you what the checklist looks like. This is what the IT Director checklist looks like. But I'm going to kind of scroll through some of the important things for you because I know that a lot of you are hands-on in your labs. So I want to point out a few things that you need to pay close attention to on this IT Director checklist. All right, as I scroll down, you're going to see browsers. Now, my recommendation is to always use Internet Explorer as your browser when you're using IT Academy because in my classroom, I found that Internet Explorer alleviated a lot of the glitches and bugs that were found when we were using other browsers. However, I know that you may have a certain browser that you or your school system prefers. So if you prefer to use another one, these are what are recommended. Okay, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more. And I want to highlight the plugins that you need. You need to make sure you have Silverlight 4.0, Flash 9.0, ActiveX, Media Player, all these things that you'll need in your classroom. Silverlight is for the digital literacy curriculum, but a lot of these, like Media Player, they play a part in online learning. Okay, as I keep scrolling down, now to use online learning, your students have to have Microsoft accounts. And Melissa and I ran into kind of a problem when we started creating Microsoft accounts, so I want to show you the solution, and it's right here. Okay, so if you're planning on having your students use online learning, they have to have Microsoft accounts. So you may be taking them to create accounts at live.com. If so, you need to make sure that your IP address has been whitelisted. I'm going to say that one more time. If you're having students create Microsoft accounts, which they have to do online learning, you have to make sure your IP address has been whitelisted. Now, if you don't whitelist, you're going to have about 3 students who can create their Microsoft accounts, and then it's going to lock down because Microsoft will think that it's spam. Now, when I first heard about this, it intimidated me, but let me tell you, it's not complicated at all. To whitelist, you simply click on this link right here, and a little form, will come up, and all you do is you fill out like your school's name as organization, why you're whitelisting. You just say you're creating email addresses for the students in the IT Academy. You fill in your IP address, and you can either ask your IT coordinator for that, or you could go to whatismyipaddress.com to find that. And you fill this out, and then you have 3 days right here, 3 days lead time. You have to do this 3 days before you start creating, or before your students start creating their Microsoft accounts. And after that, after it's whitelisted, then everybody can create their Microsoft accounts. Now, this only needs to be done once per school. Not every teacher needs to do it. And it is only done per school and not on every computer in your school. So once per school. So I don't know if any of the Georgia schools have Office 365, but if you do have Office 365, you don't have to do this because your students already have Office 365 Microsoft accounts. Okay, so that is the IT Director checklist, and please remember with the IT Director checklist to give that to your IT coordinator if you have not already as soon as possible. Uh-oh. All right, so back to the OneDrive, back to getting started with ITA. Actually, I think I'm going to go back out to the main OneDrive. And I wanted to show you one more thing. Let's see. I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and click in. I'm not sure. I'll find it in a minute, but I think it's in the, maybe it is in Getting Started with ITA, and I just can't see it on my screen. But, oh, it's over here. It was hidden by my little dashboard for the webinar. This ITA exam resource mapping, I'm just going to click on that really quickly. If you click on these, they are, and I think we've shown you these before, but it's an Excel spreadsheet, and in it, I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. It's going to show you or help you plan for your courses. For instance, let's say we're doing Word and my students are having a hard time with the skill including illustrations and graphs in a document. I can come over and see what e-learning course goes along with that skill. I can also see which lesson plan and IT Academy lesson plans go along with that skill. And I can see which chapter in MOAC goes along with that skill. So this is kind of like a planning tool. And I just wanted to quickly show it to you because I think it's really important and it helped us a lot. And it helps you cover all the skills. Now, we don't expect for you to use MOAC, online learning, and lesson plans, you know, in the entire semester. But this will help you find what you need in the case that you're looking for specific skills being measured. So I kind of think of it as like a roadmap to help. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And that is the IT Academy OneDrive, and there was just a few things that I really wanted to make sure that you knew from it. The IT Director checklist, the Quick Start guides, all of those things are really important, and use this when you can, as often as you can, to help you find what you need. Okay. Now I'm actually going to switch over to Melissa, and she's going to go into the IT Academy site and take you through the steps to getting into online learning and how to create learning plans for your students, which I think a lot of you are here for. So I'm going to change over, and Melissa, hopefully this will work. This is the first time we've used this software together.
Okay, thanks so much, Jennifer. If I have any problems with that. Okay, something's going on.
Are you good?
No, doesn't look like it. Can you just leave the PowerPoint up for a few minutes, Jennifer, and then when I go to the internet, we'll take it down. How about that?
Yeah, the PowerPoint's, uh-oh. Can you see anything?
No.
Let me see here. I'm going to change back to me, okay?
Okay. Just leave it on the PowerPoint. You can just click through for me on the PowerPoint, and then when it's time for me to go to the, yeah, that's good.
You bet, no problem. So, but I'm going to go to slideshow. So, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
I'll just click through.
Okay. Thanks so much. All right. Sorry about that, guys. This is our first time using this new meeting software, so we'll figure it out, I promise. All right, so before we get started and before I take you to the websites, I want to share with you two important links that are essential to using online learning. The first link that you see listed here is the link that you and your students will need to create a Microsoft account. Now remember that in order to use the IT Academy in your classroom and in order for your students to log in and begin using online learning, they must have a Microsoft account. And I know Jennifer was just talking about that with you, but we just always have questions about this, so I wanted to reiterate that. And the link listed on this slide is where you can go to create your Microsoft account. Now also keep in mind when you're doing this with your students that Xbox accounts, Hotmail, and OneDrive are also considered Microsoft accounts. So if your students already have those accounts, they can use those as well. Now the second link that you see listed on this slide is the link to the IT Academy member site. And this site, I'm going to take you there in just a second, but this site is for teacher use only. So just make sure that you never give this particular link out to your students. The next few slides I'm going to show you will walk you through how to get into the member site and then also how to access online learning. So I'm just going to walk you through it with the next few slides. So here I just basically took a screenshot here. And when you click on the member site link, this is the page that you will see. And then from here, you will need to click on the IT Academy member sign-in link that's located on the right side of the screen. And once you click on this link, you will be taken to the next screen. If you'll click for me, Jennifer. Perfect. This is where you will sign in using the appropriate option. Now, there's two options. You'll notice the top one there is for a Microsoft account, and then you also have the option of using an organizational account. Now, if your school system uses Office 365, then you will select the organizational account and you will log in that way. But once you click on the appropriate option, then you'll be taken to the next screen. And this is where you will sign in using your Microsoft account username and password. And if you're doing this with your students, this is where you would direct your students to then type in the email account that they use and then the password for their Microsoft account. All right, so if this is the first time that you're trying to access the member site, you'll be prompted to insert your member ID and program key for your school. Now, if you don't have this information, you could always ask the IT Academy Program Administrator for your school. You could also email gaita@microsoft.com. And don't worry if you don't know that address. We'll share that with you again at the close of the session today. But once you enter in this information, you will then enter the member site. You'll click for me, Jen. All right, so this is a picture of what the member site looks like, and from the home page there are several ways that you can access and begin using the many benefits that are available to you through your IT Academy membership. Now, I always use the My Academy link at the top to access my benefits, including online learning. And so there's many ways that you can access it, but I just put a little circle here so you could see that this is the way that I always do it. I click on My Academy. If you'll click, Jen. All right, so once you click on My Academy, you will be directed to this page. So at this point, Jennifer's going to switch me over now to presenter, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And what I've done is I've already navigated through the sign-in process, and right now I am on the My Academy page.
Okay, Melissa, I'm having a hard time clicking for some reason, but I'm actually going to change over now, okay?
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. Are we good, Jennifer? Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Good, good, good. Okay. All right, so once again, this is the member site. I'm actually in the site. I've already signed in. Remember, this is a teacher-only website. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here to expand curriculum. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here so you guys can see the options. All right, at the very top is the section for online learning. Now, if you have never used online learning before, you will need to click on the first time sign-in link. And when you click on the first time sign-in link, you'll be asked to provide some information, including your member ID and program key. But the good news is that if you've already signed into the member site, the site remembers that information for you, and all you will need to do is just fill in some profile information about yourself. Once you complete the information, you'll be taken to the teacher side of online learning. But it's very, very important that you click on first time sign in if this is the first time that you have done this. All right, So please note that the returning user sign-in right below here is what you will use from this point forward, and the Use Online Learning link down here is where you can go to see what your students would see while they are using online learning. Okay, so 3 different links here, 3 different purposes. The Use Online Learning link is very helpful for you as a teacher to see what your students might see when you are assigning learning plans. So what I do is I create learning plans using the returning user sign-in link, and then later I might come in and click on Use Online Learning just so I can review and know what my students will be seeing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the returning user sign-in. And we're going to take a look at the teacher side of online learning. So this is called the Administrator Dashboard, and this is where you will go to create and assign learning plans for your students. Now there's actually 2 ways that you can do this. There is what we call the managed approach, and then the second way is called the unmanaged approach. And I'm going to begin by sharing with you the unmanaged approach. It is the quickest and easiest way to give students access to online learning. All right, so to do this, we're going to click on the Users tab. And this is a good time for me to point out that you share online learning with all of the other teachers at your school. So you'll see listed here all of the other teachers and the other teachers' students. So you'll see your students and your other teachers' students at your school because you share this. All right, so to use the unmanaged approach, you would click on Invite Users. And it says, what role do you want to assign to each user? Since we're dealing with students here, we want to make sure that we choose learner. Okay, remember that your students are always learners only. They have no other roles. The next little box here says, how many users do you want to give this link to? This is where you would think about how many students you have in your class. And then what I always do, and I recommend this, is that you should overestimate the number of students that you want to give the link to. So if I have 2 classes and let's say about 30 students in each class, that would be 60. I might overestimate here and put in 80. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Guys, make sure your microphones are muted. I keep hearing some like background noises. You can make sure that's muted for me. That'll help out. Okay, so let's see here. I got a little sidetracked there by that. Okay, so I put in the number of users. And then after I do that, I'm going to click on the green Create Enrollment link. And then when I do that, my enrollment link appears below. Okay, so now I have 2 options for sharing the enrollment code with my students. Okay, the first method is you could just send the code to yourself in an email. So you'll see here there's an option to email this. So you click on email, and then you could then forward the email to your students. Now what I like about this is that your students are sent an email, and I have a screenshot of it right here. This is what it looks like when your students get that email. And from here, all they have to do is click on this link right here where it says Get Your New Learning Plan. And then they would then log into the online learning site and they can begin using online learning. So it's as simple as that. You forward them the email. All right, so now I'm going to go over the second way that you can share the enrollment code with your students. We are aware that sometimes there are situations that prevent teachers from emailing their students, and therefore the first method I just shared with you would not work. So here's the second method for sharing the code with your students. You could actually come in and just copy this code. So I could highlight it like this. Now you can't right-click within the system, but you could always use Control-C. And then after you've copied it, you could share that with your students, maybe via a network drive or any location they have access to, or you could project the code on a screen, or you could just simply write it on the board. Okay, so that's the second way that you could share this code with your students. All right, so now I'm going to take you guys to the learner side of online learning so you can see what your students would see when they go to the online learning website. So right now I am on the login screen for the learner dashboard. Now I usually have my students bookmark the site, or I create a link to the site for students to access. This usually minimizes the number of questions in class when we use online learning, so just a little tip there. So students will need to sign in using their Microsoft account. If they do not have a Microsoft account, they'll need to follow the same steps that you use to create their account. Also remember the whitelisting information that Jennifer shared with you earlier. you will need to whitelist your IP addresses before trying to create multiple Microsoft accounts with students. Now notice that students have the same two options for logging in. They will choose either the Microsoft account option or the Office 365 account option. If this is the first time they've logged in, then they will have to fill out a Profile Center page, and they'll also have to redeem an enrollment code. So I'm just going to click here on Microsoft account, and it's going to go ahead and log me in, and I don't have to complete all those steps because I'm already logged in as an administrator, and it's recognizing that. Okay. But when your students first log in, it's going to ask them to fill out a profile page. Now they're also going to have to redeem an enrollment code. Now your students should be prompted to enter this information, but I'm going to show you what they will see. So if you just click the arrow here beside your name or the student's name, you could then come down and click on Redeem Enrollment Code. Now it's going to take you to the page where they could then come in here and just put in the enrollment code. Now all your students would need to do is copy and paste the enrollment code here that you sent them, and then they would also need to enter in their email address, and then they're ready to use online learning and the learning plan that you set up for them. However, remember that if you sent them the email and they clicked on the link within that email, then they will not need to redeem an enrollment code, okay? So this is only if they're copying and pasting the information in. It is not if you sent them the email. With the email, they just click and they're ready to go. All right, I'm going to hit cancel. All right, so this is the student side of online learning, and this is what your students will see when they go to take a course. So students could then search for courses to take, and then you as the teacher would direct their search. So up here at the top, if you click on Browse Courses at the top, you will see all the different types of courses that are available to your students. Now, I teach Microsoft Office in my classes, so I'm going to come over here and just click on the Office option. And now to narrow my search, I'm going to go up to the search bar. In the right corner, I'm going to enter in, let's say, Word 2010. Now this will help me locate exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hit search. Okay. So I hit search, okay, and it comes up for me all these different courses that are related to Word 2010, okay? So I would then tell my students to add certain courses, and I would have this information already for my kids. I might say, okay, go ahead and add in course 10294. They would click, and then you'll notice that it's now been added to their learning plan, okay? So you can see how easy it is to add and remove courses here. All right, so I'm now going to take you back to the learner dashboard so that we can see our learning plan. This is a good time for me to point this out. These little green navigation arrows within the site, please make sure that you tell your students to always use the navigation arrows. If you try to use your browser's back button, it will kick you out. So just remember the back arrows here. So I'm going to click on it, all right, and I'm now back to the learner dashboard. All right, so when you look here at the green box, you should now have a new learning plan listed there. So when your students click on the green My Courses, they can then scroll through and they can locate the new learning plan that you've created. So right here you see the one that I just created and was added to me as a student. All right, and then all they would need to do here is that they just click on this, Microsoft Word 2013 Essentials. It will start to play the course for them. Now, I'm not going to play it right now because in the past when I've tried to play it, I've had some issues with the meeting and the video working together, so I'm not going to click on it. But this is where your students would go to then start online learning. All right, so I'm going to hit back just to go back to the learner dashboard, and I want to point out that when a student completes a course, it moves from My Courses over to My Achievements. But your students can still access the full course by clicking on the My Achievements link. So even though it moves over here, they can still see it if they want to go back to it and review it for later. All right, so what I just showed you is the unmanaged approach to online learning. And we call it unmanaged because your students go in and they browse to find those courses, okay? I am now going to go through the managed approach with you, which is the second method for creating courses for your students. Now, I know that's a lot of information that I just shared, so maybe this is a good time to stop and just see if there's any questions I'm just going to look in our boxes here to see if there's any questions.
I've been checking, Melissa. It looks like we're doing good.
Okay, good. If you guys have any questions, just make sure that you let us know. Okay, thanks, Jennifer, for checking on that. All right, so like I just said to you, I just went through the unmanaged approach. I'm going to go to the managed approach now. Now, the managed approach gives you, as the teacher, a little more control. Now, me, just my personal preference, I would rather do a little more work myself to simplify that process for my students and to ensure that everything runs smoothly in my classroom. Now, remember that we have 2 sites for online learning. Right now, we are on the learner site. So I'm going to go back to the teacher site, and I already have it pulled up here just in a different tab. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to close this out. This is from earlier. And then I'm going to use the green navigation arrows. Okay. So this is the administrator dashboard. So the first thing you would need to do is click on the Learning Plans link. Now, the first time that you log in to online learning, you will not have any learning plans listed. Now, I actually share this site with other trainers, so right now you see lots of learning plans on my screen. Now, all you need to do to create a learning plan is click on the blue Add link here. And then what I always do first is I give my learning plan a name. Now, you might want to base this on the software that you're using. For example, I might call this Word 2010 if that's what I'm using in my class. Or you could also title it based upon the name of the class that you're teaching. But you'll figure out what works best for you and your students. One recommendation that I do have is that you include your last name in the learning plan name, because remember that you share this with all of the other teachers at your school, so if your last name is in there, it helps you and your students as well. So I'm going to give it a name here. I'm just going to call it GADOE, and I'll give it today's date. I barely could remember what today's date is. Okay. And then all you would need to do from here is you can just scroll through all of these different libraries, and you can find the courses that you want to add to the learning plan for your students. So you'll notice that this part is the part that's different. Here you are finding the courses for your students, and this eliminates that step for them. Remember, in the unmanaged approach, your students did this part. In the managed approach, you are doing this part. So I might add something here from digital literacy, and then I might scroll down and find something here from Office 2013 and add a couple of things like that. Okay? All right, so I pick all the courses that I want to add. I'm clicking Save. Oh, the name already exists. Okay, I'll just call it Georgia. All right, so now you'll see the learning plan that you just created, and you see that we have all the different courses that I just added. So I'm going to click OK. Click OK again. All right, so here's my learning plan right here at the very top, Georgia, and then today's date. That's what I called it. So what we need to do now is give our students access to this learning plan. So from here, all you would need to do is click on the green Create Enrollment link. And then once again here, you're going to overestimate the number of learners that you want to give it to. Now, I am pretending like I have 2 classes here of 30. I'm going to give this to 85 learners. And then I'm going to click Save. Okay. And then the second thing I need to do on my learning plan is the second icon over here is called Manage Enrollment Codes. I'm going to click on Manage Enrollment Codes. And from here, you will see that we have the same 2 options that we saw earlier. You can either email the enrollment code to yourself and then forward it on to your students, or you can capture this enrollment code here and somehow share it with your students. Okay, so the same options as I showed you before. Email it or capture it and somehow share that. All right, so I want you to see what your students will see when you as the teacher use the managed approach to online learning. So I'm going to go back over here to the learner site. From here on the learner site, all they would need to do is click on the green box, the learning plans, and then they would already see the learning plan listed here, okay? They do not have to browse for courses to add to their account, which is what I like about this. Something else that I like about the managed approach is that I can create learning plans for my students to simplify that process for them, but they also still have the ability to use that Browse Courses option up here to locate other courses that they might want to take on their own. Now, I have used this in my classes when students have excelled and they wanted to move ahead of the class. It is a great way to individualize learning for students. Now, before we leave the dashboards, I want to point out a couple of things. First off, I'm going to take us back to the administrator dashboard, and I'm going to close this out here. In the top right corner, you will see your name with a drop down, and if you click on this arrow, you will see all the options that are available to you. Now, if we were to go to the learner dashboard, you don't have all of these same options, okay? So if you're ever at the learner dashboard and you're trying to see all these options here, you won't be able to see this because you're on the learner dashboard and students don't have access to these options. Sometimes teachers get a little confused by this and they wonder why they cannot see the administrator dashboard. And the reason is because they're on the learner site. So a couple of things I want to point out here is you can edit your profile. Honestly, I don't ever really use these, but I do use this link here, IT Academy member site. You can click here, and it will take you back to the member site that we were at earlier. And then if you just wanted to go directly to the learner site from here, you could just click on learner site. There's the option there. Okay? So one thing I want to show you, and I always share this when I do webinars because it's a trick that I learned myself, and I know it's maybe a little corny, but I don't care. It's a way that helps me. If you are on the student dashboard, you'll notice that there are clouds in the background. So clouds equal learner. So if you're trying to figure out why can't I create a learning plan, it's because you see clouds in the background and you're looking at what the students see. If you look at the administrator dashboard, you'll notice there are no clouds. Okay? So that's how I keep the two separate in my mind. All right, so I'm going to take us back to the slide deck. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to let Jennifer do that. Jennifer, I'm going to change you back over to presenter. And Jennifer's going to take us back to the slide deck. I have just a couple of just kind of wrap-up slides that I want to share with you.
There you go, Melissa. Can you see it? Oh, wait. Can you see it now?
Yep, I think we're good now.
Okay. Hey, Melissa, let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
We had someone say that, you know, not being able to do it while you did it was kind of difficult. They get frustrated, and I told them to look on the OneDrive where I showed the quick start guides, and there is one for online learning in there. It does, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it show them how to set up a learning plan?
It does. If you look at the quick start guides for online learning, and there's a quick start guide to set up a learning plan. And I believe it walks you through both approaches that I just showed you. Something else that's on the quick start guides is there's a document. I might take you there in a minute. There's a document that you could use with your students. So like if you're doing online learning for the first time with your students, there's a document that you can give them that says to them, okay, click here, do this, but it's one that you would just hand your students. But I do understand that it can become a little frustrating with using online learning. And I think you just have to figure out what works best for you. But yes, it can be frustrating, and I understand that. So maybe in a second, Jennifer, if you remind me at the end, we can go to the OneDrive, and I can pull up the quick start guide and then also the student one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Okay, so once again, I just put this on this slide. I forgot that I put it here. Here's a picture of the two dashboards side by side, along with the direct links for each. So just once again, remember, clouds equal student, no clouds equal administrator. Okay, Jennifer, if you'll click for me.
Okay, so after listening to Melissa, and that was a great job, Melissa, but after you've listened to her, you're probably now trying to decide how you want to use online learning in your classroom. So Melissa and I came up with some best practices for using it in your classroom because we had a hard time, you know, figuring out how we wanted to use it. I remember we wanted to jump right in the middle of a semester and make it align with what we were already teaching, and that didn't work. We got frustrated, and we made it harder than it was supposed to be. So on this slide, I've got a few of the best practices that we came up with. The first one is, after you understand how to create a learning plan and how online learning works, then you have to decide how and when you want to use it in your classroom. Like I said before, Melissa and I started out thinking we're going to use it every day. However, we ended up using it as a supplemental resource in our classroom. So if you're having a hard time, take it slow and start small. Like Melissa just said, that online learning quick start guide is a great place to start. It is a great tool, but it can be complicated at the beginning. However, once you get started, it gets a lot easier. The second best practice is to customize your online learning in your classroom. In my classroom, I use online learning several different ways. I've used both the approaches that Melissa showed you, both managed and unmanaged. I use the unmanaged approach, which was student-directed, so where the students can find the courses themselves, for students who wanted to work ahead and try to gain extra certifications. However, I use the managed approach mostly in my classes, 80% of the time. For example, for students who are on homebound, I would assign them a learning plan to access online learning from home to learn the skills on the certification tests. Also, I always assign learning plans for students that need, to have concepts reinforced, and if they're having skills, if there's skills that they're having hard times with, and like, for instance, mill merge. So I would assign learning plans for the students on mill merge. Sometimes if they're having a really hard time with a skill, I would create a listening guide to go along with the course to reinforce those concepts even more. Now, after using online learning for a while, I decided it was important to start the first learning plan together with the class as a whole on the projector and show it to them and how it worked, and then I would let them move into more individual work in online learning. But I figured out, and I believe Melissa did too, that it was good to start small. Show them what it looks like, show them what the course has in it, what the videos look like, what the modules look like, and then let them move on. Another best practice is to make sure to become familiar with the IT Director checklist that I showed you. That is very important, especially with online learning. So make sure you download it to your computer from the handout section today. I'm sorry, not from the handout section, but from the IT Academy OneDrive, and give it to your IT coordinator as soon as possible if you've not done that already. Also, that exam resource mapping on the OneDrive that I showed you earlier, hopefully you'll be able to use that and let it help you save time. And the last thing I think is probably the most important thing is just to breathe. All these tools in the IT Academy were created to help you get your students certified. Melissa and I saw great success with it. You have to learn it, though. It's something that you have to learn. And if you can figure out, which parts of the IT Academy, whether it be e-learning or MOAC or digital literacy, figure out how it works in your classroom, it's going to help your students get certified. So just take a deep breath, figure out what you want to use, and then get started using it. Now, saying that, you kind of need to have a plan of how to use online learning with your students. So this is kind of a what's next diagram of suggestions on what to do after this webinar today. First, make sure you download that IT Director checklist and the Online Learning Quick Start Guide from the IT Academy OneDrive so that you can refer back to them. Next, identify how you're planning on using online learning in your classroom. Think about some of the examples we have provided for you today. For instance, students who are working ahead, assign them more classes if they want to get more certifications. Students that are having problems, assign them courses and give them guided notes to go along with it to help them with certain skills or certain technologies. Next, learn about online learning and other IT Academy resources by keeping up with professional development. Now, Melissa and I do these webinars once a month for the IT Academy in Georgia. If you cannot attend them, you're always welcome to go to that link on the IT Academy OneDrive and listen to them because they are all recorded and you can refer back to them, and hopefully they'll help you. There's other things that you can do, though, to keep up with professional development, and I'll show you that in a second. But also know where to find support. We needed some support with the IT Academy, in particular online learning. So we have gone ahead and listed the different avenues of support that you can use to help you with online learning. Up there at the very top of this slide, you'll see the IT Academy OneDrive. Now that is case sensitive, so you want to type it in exactly like it is shown there. But that takes you to the OneDrive that we've talked about with all those important resources on it, like the Quick Start guides that I was speaking to a teacher about that help you create learning plans step by step. The IT Director checklist, the exam resource mapping where you can see, which skill maps to which benefit of the IT Academy. All that's in that OneDrive. Definitely take a minute, go through that OneDrive, and familiarize yourself with the different parts. Let's see. On the bottom left corner there, you'll see the online learning support. You've got an email address. You've got a phone number. Now, this is specifically for online learning, and these people are amazing as far as getting back to you quickly. There's also some help topics on the IT Academy website, and if you'll see right there, I circled it, there's some just general help topics that many teachers have questions about, so you might want to check that. I know that that's updated regularly. So it's probably the most up-to-date information for you. This is the Contact Us form. Let's see. If you look right here at the bottom, see how it says Contact Us? I circled that. If you'll click on that, this is what it looks like. So you can fill it out and send it to online learning support. The online learning support personnel are really responsive to email, so please remember to fill this out if you have a question and send it to them. I am the type of person that I would call them, I would email them, I would do everything, at one time just to see how fast I could get an answer. So I know that all of these avenues work. Some of them work quicker than the other ones, but they're all relatively, the support given is all relatively, I would say, quick, within the same day, sometimes within the same hour. There's some more teacher resources, which I love. The new YouTube videos, there's a link to those. The IT Academy has some new ITA Getting Started Help YouTube videos. They're like a series of videos that are going to assist you with starting out with the different benefits of the IT Academy. There's a video for online learning. There's a video for MOAC. They're all just a couple of minutes long, and they're great for the quick support that busy teachers need. And then below that, there's an IT Academy newsletter. So if you have not signed up for that newsletter, make sure you do. It's a monthly newsletter from the IT Academy that's going to help keep you up to date with the latest and greatest from the IT Academy. So it includes like news, special offers, all kinds of stuff for IT Academy members. So if you've not already signed up, this is how you do it. You, let's see, 2 tabs to the right of My Academy, you click on Marketing and Community. And underneath Community, you just click on Newsletter, and you put in your email address to subscribe. And you'll get those monthly newsletters. And a lot of those monthly newsletters now are talking about the national competition, National Microsoft competition, which I believe is in Texas this year. So you might want more information on that, and that's a great way to get it. Okay, so I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to let you, I know Melissa's probably been answering questions, but I'm going to open up the mic, see who has questions. You're welcome to unmute the mic. You're welcome to type it in. If you have any best practices you want to share as far as online learning, we told you what worked best for us with online learning, but there's many more teachers, great teachers in Georgia that can share their best practices, and we would love to hear it. So I'm going to take a second. If you don't have any questions, thank you for coming. I know how busy you are, and we know it took away some of your day to come, and we're just so happy that you are here and taking time out of your day to learn more about online learning to help prepare your students for certification. So we think that's awesome. So those of you who don't have questions, you're welcome to leave, and those of you that do, either type them into the box or feel free to unmute your mic.
Hey, Jennifer, too, while we're waiting on that, I want to show them really quickly that where to find all those online learning quick start guides.
Okay, I'm going to go over to you then, okay?
Okay, I'll have to just pull it up. So some of you guys were asking me, you know, how can I do this? I can watch you doing it right now, but later on when I try to do this on my own, you know, it's not going to be that easy, and I completely understand that. So what I just did is I just went to the OneDrive. Now remember, Jennifer just shared this with you guys on that last screen, the link to the OneDrive. If you click on Quick Start Guides, okay, here's a list of all the Quick Start Guides. Quick Start Guide, you'll just see there's all kinds of things here. But here is one for online learning advanced features, and then there's also one, let me move this out of the way here. Okay, here is the Quick Start Guide for online learning here, okay? And all you would need to do is download this document, and it takes you step by step into those steps that I just went through, okay? So that's where you would go for that. Also, remember I told you guys there was one that you could share with your students? This is the online learning steps for students, and this is a template. And so basically what you would do is you could print this out, or you could just share it with your students on the network or some other location. But you could copy and paste that enrollment code link for them in there, and it has all the steps that they would take as the student. So I always use the Quick Start for Online Learning, and then I actually never use the student template because I think it's fairly new, but I think it would be a great resource to use in the classroom. And if you were interested in some more advanced features of online learning, such as using groups with your students or with running reports, then you would look at this Quick Start Guide of advanced features, okay? And all of that is on the OneDrive. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions there. All right, Jennifer, are you seeing any questions that we need to go over?
I had muted myself. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't look like, it says, will you give the link to this and other presentations of the year again? Melissa, can you show them where it is on the OneDrive?
Yep, I'll do it right now.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go, when you get to the OneDrive, this is what you'll see, and I'm not really sure what to do with this guy here. I'm going to move him out of the way. Okay. When you click on the link, sorry, when you click on the link to the OneDrive, you're going to go to the state-specific program folder, and then you're going to click on the Georgia Schools folder. And when you get in the Georgia Schools folder, you'll see that we've created a folder called Microsoft IT Academy Webinars for this school year. And when you click on it, there's a link to each of the webinars that Jennifer and I have conducted, as well as any documents that we might have shared. So you'll see here with webinar number 2, we shared many documents there. Okay, so you click on it, you also get the recording. The recording is in a separate document, and then everything that we shared is here as well. So that's where you'll find that. Any other questions?
Not that I see. We'll wait a second and see.
Okay.
Oh, no, Linda, don't be sorry about questions. That's why we're here. That's why we come to the webinar. We're here to help y'all. So ask as many questions as you have. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, I'm going to take a second and just wait, see if any more are typed in. Again, remember that OneDrive link. Remember the IT Director checklist. Remember to subscribe to the IT Academy newsletter. And remember that there is specific support for online learning that you can use. So thank you all so much for coming. You're doing great things with your students and certifications, and we are just so proud of you for being here, and we wish you all the success in the world with certifications and your students. Is there any way to get this from my own OneDrive? Melissa, I don't know of a way. I'm not sure what she's asking. I think, like, can you get it off of that OneDrive and put it on your OneDrive?
I mean, you could always download it from the OneDrive to your computer and then put it on your OneDrive, but you do have to actually visit the IT Academy's OneDrive to get it.
And I would say what I would do is I created a folder on my desktop and put those important documents in that folder, and that was the easiest way for me to keep up with all those documents. I hope that helped, Ashley. Okay, great. All right, well, thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a wonderful day. Good job. Bye, Melissa.
Bye, Jen.